Action Chef. The Action Chef. The Action Chef.
Welcome to The Action Shelf. The podcast celebrates the glory of B action movies. I'm John Campbell. Michael Listman taking some time off, as we've talked about, so we're going to have a revolving panel of guest hosts that come in here. And lucky number one who gets to do the first one of these. And what a lucky movie he pulled on the list.
Ugh.
Brendan Jones is with me.
All I gotta say is, I don't buy Michael Listman taking a break for any. I mean, he knew this was coming.
He saw this.
This is a trap.
He did. Well, he also abandoned you last time you were on for Megaforce.
That's right. So. But I mean, I will say I will watch Megaforce again in my life. I will try to have this film erased from my mind. And I'll say, if you have a problem with me, John,
yeah,
just go punch me in the gut. Go ahead, punch me in the gut. Do that as opposed to saying
the passive aggressive nature of going, "Hey, watch this." I don't even know what medievals. I guess it's attempting to be a swashbuckler. Is that what you would say there?
No. What it is it's downtime at the Ren Fair is what this is.
What I thought, and we are talking about 2000's The King's Guard, is the title of this movie in quotes. This alleged film. What I kept thinking was, yes, they had Ren Fair costumes, but I was like, is this like a culmination video for a stage combat class?
Oh, it couldn't be, because they would all not pass that class. With this movie, I sat there going like, I literally, at the end of the day, so much is terrible here that it's impossible to really parse it. Do you think what's the most embarrassing thing about this movie, John? Is it the, okay, in quotes, action?
Yes, that's pretty bad.
Is it in quotes, acting?
Yeah, it's pretty bad too. Even though there's a couple of real pros in this thing.
Yes.
And how I would say the presence of two of these actors, I have the most questions about. I'll actually go
three, because Leslie Ann Down, who gets out of there pretty damn quick.
Leslie Ann Down, escapes this thing.
She looks great for 2000. I was like, man, and she does okay with her scene. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I already knew we were in trouble. She literally kicks the movie off.
Yeah.
But before we ever see her, we see it basically an Amiga computer screensaver.
Yep.
Is our castle.
I went,
oh no.
Yeah, that's terrible. Immediately the music screams, and I don't think the music ever stops. I think there's solid, just like what would be on like a 99-cent store CD of fantasy music.
Yeah, it is, again, medieval times. Kind of nonsense with little fifes and little, tambourines, and it's just, oh god.
The budget for this movie is not listed, but it couldn't have cost anything, right? Basically, the whole movie is just in a field.
The whole movie seems to have been shot in a field in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire story of this film, the entire plot and what happens, it all takes place at 2 p.m.
Yes. And by the way, at a field in beautiful San Diego, California is where they shot
this thing. San Diego?
Yes,
okay.
That's what I have.
But I mean, it is just this like open,
it could be
very
anywhere,
green field with a cheap building they put up that looks, again, like community theater.
The ruins, as they keep saying, over there, and they've taken refuge in the ruins.
The ruins, which are sitting in the middle of the field with no evidence of farms
And
or roads or whatever.
I'm sorry, but in particular, who had dirt on Ron Perlman in particular?
What
Because
is this? How do they get?
because okay, Eric Roberts, this is beneath even him, but I'm also just used to Eric Roberts being in every movie ever anyway.
Yeah. Now, the only person in this cast where I was like, oh, well, I can see that, unfortunately for her, is Christine Haji,
Sure.
formerly of Head of the Class.
Yep.
And she's not even the lead female.
No.
And I'm like, oh, that's bad when you're
No.
the handmaiden.
And the lead female, the princess, is a soap opera woman.
Yes, but here's the thing. All right, I'm going to come down hard on those reviewers on IMDb.
Oh, well, we'll read some of those later. But
Yeah,
yes,
they are dumping on her,
Mhm.
and her name is Ashley Jones, I think.
Yes.
And I mean, if they're going after the accent, I get that, but that's
Sure.
true of everybody in this
No,
movie,
no,
including our big stars.
I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone is good in this movie, or worse than anyone else. Really, I mean, like everyone's
Pretty
pretty
much,
bad,
but
pretty equally bad in this.
But I mean, I actually did. People really are saying like, oh, she's the worst, and I'm like going, I think our male lead is.
Oh yeah,
awful.
Trevor St. John, who plays Captain Reynolds.
Yeah, if nothing else, soap opera lady, who I also found out is from Memphis, Tennessee, my
Hey,
mom's
nice.
hometown. She, like you said, no better, no worse than anyone else, and at the very least, she has facial expressions and she's very cute. So I was like, I'm okay, I'm down with this.
By the way, the main guy also a soap opera guy.
Mm.
A lot of
Well,
soap opera people.
I could
in
buy
this.
that. He's but he's very wooden.
Yeah.
No one's good, and there's not a single horse to be seen. Here's the thing that cracks me up:
Not a one. Not a one.
the narrator.
Oh God, the narrator might be the worst performance.
The narrator is the same guy who's the cowardly guy who ends up being not cowardly at the end.
He's pretty bad, but once again, I don't know that he's like infinitely worse than anybody else.
No,
he is bad.
But he has a toss away line about the bandits had set upon the princess and the horses were all scared away. Literally says that at the top to explain why everyone's running.
There's some
horse
lampshade hanging if I've ever seen it in a script.
Oh my God, it's so awful.
Yeah, the King's Guard. Now, I gotta say, like, in terms of broad things about this movie, what is the tone of this movie, too?
Well, it starts off being kind of acceptably, kind of fairy tale-ish, but also kind of, just a straightforward swashbuckler. The queen saying, hey, watch after...
Well, because we open up on the training of the King's Guard and they're practicing their fencing, and they get the assignment that like the
Leslie
princess...
Ann Down comes over, is like, hey, the King's Guard really needs to protect the princess who's about to be married off to this guy. Leslie Ann Down, she's out.
Yeah, it's a distinct like you've got me for the next couple hours. I'll do the work, but then I'm gone.
So that's the whole setup. And but when it starts taking a comedic turn, that was another thing I was going to throw into my list of what's most embarrassing. The quote unquote comedy.
Abysmal. Oh my God.
Oh,
okay.
my
All right.
God.
The worst people in this movie might be those two bickering guardsmen.
Jesus,
they're really bad. And
they are community theater actors, and
Yeah.
some of that might have worked if maybe the writers had said, you know what, we've got the base of what their relationship is and the joke, but let's keep stretching it. Instead, they just keep coming back, and one of them's telling the other one to wear his hat. And that is the whole
every time
goddamn thing.
I have throughout my notes, I just keep going, this goddamn hat bit is still going. I can't believe. And then the big punchline is at the end of the movie when they're doing the epilogue. They opened a haberdashery. Oh, good God!
What?
Uh-oh!
What? Oh, I will let people know if they choose not to watch it.
Which they should choose not to watch it.
They should choose not to watch it.
Yep.
Also, it's never a good sign when all the reviews on IMDb go, best part of this movie are the blooper reel at the end of it.
Oh God, the
And
blooper
I watched
reel.
the blooper reel. I didn't laugh once.
No, 'cause
so
there wasn't-
that was on par with the rest of the movie.
They weren't funny bloopers. It was mostly just Eric Roberts like fumbling a line and then going, let's
and
take
then
it
going
again.
like, oh damn it, start again. Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's not
Damn it,
funny.
start again.
I will say too, the few people I saw in here comparing this to The Princess Bride, go to hell on that.
Go
because
straight to hell.
If
you need directions, I'll write you a map. I'll draw you a
because
map.
my God, if this is, there are moments when I guess I see it trying to be that, but holy God, it is just, this thing is abysmal. And also, I will say, not at all what I was expecting from the cover art on it, which is, Eric, I was expecting low-level medieval action attempting to be like a castle siege movie or something like that.
Yeah, and when I know that the way you guys are fishing for movies.
Yeah.
For your podcast, we're
casting our line out. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're looking at a lot of cover art. You're looking at movies that you haven't seen, and you're going to reliable actors like Eric Roberts will deliver a terrible action movie.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This really shouldn't even be on this podcast.
No.
There is no action.
I mean, there is what this movie is trying to present as action.
Jesus.
But
I'll also
fighting.
say,
yeah.
Next time you want to have me on as a guest,
Yeah.
it's got to be R-rated. I will not show up for another PG-13 because here's the thing: if a movie is this bad, then at least I want to see squibs. At least I want to see blood, and this action is awkwardly shot. It's awkwardly performed.
I'm actually trying to figure out how this even got a PG-13. Like, it is so. I'm saying,
there's no blood.
That's what I mean. How did this even earn PG-13? My God.
That's true. I don't remember really any curse words.
No curse words. Whatever sexuality is so innocent.
There's none.
No, it's all just like, oh yeah, I kissed that girl. The character who I only referred to as the rogue in my notes because he's so
he's
roguish.
the slightly more roguish King's Guard member,
and he's a
guy who is basically cheating on and upsetting the princess's handmaiden, who is Christine Haji. Man.
And he's one of the himbos from Sex and the City.
Is
that
he?
Guy? Yeah, that's what they said.
Great.
Yeah. I don't know. He probably was.
This movie doesn't make sense as in how it came together.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to figure out. Like, okay, so obviously this couldn't have cost much, but somebody put some amount of money into it, and what did they see in it?
Also, how did this particular guy, Jonathan Tider, who is the director and writer?
Yep. This is not a tour picture, as we often talk about.
Yep. How has he made more than one film?
He's made. This is his. This is one of 3 feature films he's made, and several that he's scripted.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at that too,
including I think a future episode of the show, which I shudder now to watch. I think at some point we are doing Ice Soldiers on this show.
You're not gonna do Dark Angel?
Oh, that
or also known as I Come in Peace.
Yeah,
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, I have seen that movie. It's very
actually
silly.
I have too.
That one's kind of fun though, but that is co-written by David Koepp and directed by Craig R. Baxley.
That also has Matthias Hughes in it, just like this one does.
Yep. Well, it's nice to it's nice to know he's got a rep company, right?
Matthias Hughes literally stands. He just stands, and then he has like 2 lines of dialogue, and then has a fight scene.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, like I said, I can't believe how.
This will be a short episode because God, there is no story.
There is nothing here. No, the thing about, because it really is like, and it's one of those, we talk about these on the show every once in a while. Once they took refuge in the ruins, I'm like, oh no, this is going to be the whole movie.
That's exactly it. You're like going, wait, oh my God, one set? This is it?
We've run into this before on the show where it's like, oh crap, we're never leaving this warehouse, are we, or whatever? You know,
And
like
since day never turns to night
Yeah.
in this, it really does seem like we're watching this in real time. And you're sitting there going like, so all this wrapped up in an afternoon? Great.
yeah, and such great, compelling action scene. I love a siege movie. You can make an exciting, like, try to defend the castle movie.
When the bad group comes finally and storms the ruins, it is the most embarrassing thing for all involved. You have literally people just poking swords in through a window to get at people inside. But the thing is, if they had literally walked
Yep.
5 feet to
Yep.
the other side, there's a huge gaping hole in the wall that they could walk through instead of poking swords through windows.
But
Jesus God.
like we're talking about, it's like it's so cheap, so incompetent, so nothing. It's insane that I know anyone on any level in this movie. This really does feel like
That's why I'm saying
let's
the
go out and
mystery
make a
is
movie.
how. I mean, this could have been. It does feel like LARPers or Ren Fair actors
Yeah.
who said, "Let's finally do a movie. Like, let's do an actual thing where we've got our characters and we do it." And that would be fine. It would look exactly the same as this. But the thing that doesn't make sense is, where did they get the money to get a Ron Perlman, even though he's not on screen all the time, and Eric Roberts, Leslie Ann Down,
Eric Roberts, even for being the having the most screen time of those three, still it's pretty. You can tell it's pretty isolated when they use him. It's pretty clear they had Leslie Ann Down for one day. They maybe had Perlman for one. Probably also just one day, and then Eric Roberts for like 2 days, and like it's very clear.
The only trivia on it on IMDb is, although Eric Roberts received top billing for the movie, he first appears 25 minutes into the film and has less than 30 lines of dialogue.
Yeah, and I guess you know what? Joke's on me, because that's why and on you as well, Brendan. That's why this is on here, because we saw this.
I did not ask for this.
No. Somewhere, Michael Listman is listening to this episode and snickering in his home right now.
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah. Good. Crazy credits. Watch out for the outtakes at the end of the video or DVD.
Yeah, or streaming, because basically they just tacked them on permanently before the credits even roll.
Oh yeah. And it's. Did you have the same thought when you were watching them, where they go on way too long? Like, they're not funny, and at a certain point, I just became curious, like, how long are they going to let this roll? I'm not entertained by this. I'm just now, like, watching out of curiosity. How long can these... Once again, you could put this same blooper reel together from any movie, which is just people going like, oh, wait, stop, I got to do that again.
The only thing that made me kind of crack up was Ron Perlman doing the hip thrust thing for no good reason. When Eric Roberts screws up, then Ron Perlman just like makes a "I'm humping the air" gesture, and that was funny because it's Ron Perlman doing air humping.
I'll tell you what's funnier than anything in this movie is Ron Perlman's Twitter feed, which I highly recommend, because that is one angry dude.
But he's angry about the right things.
Oh, he's angry about the right things, and I love it where he's just like, "Hey, Ted Cruz, go fuck yourself."
I know. I love it.
They're telling studio executives, "I know where you live, motherfucker."
Well, that was the thing that got all the controversy.
Yeah,
because he's like going, "Yeah, you want to put all these people out of their homes, right? That's how you're going to wear down the people striking." He goes, "Well, some people know where you live. There's more than one way to get kicked out of your house." And you're like, "Whoa, buddy, whoa. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you."
All of a sudden, he just fucking turned into Clay Morrow from Sons of Anarchy. For half a second. But it is, this movie's so baffling. Let's go through what plot there is, because this needs to be an episode of the show. So our protagonist, because we have to call him something, Captain Reynolds, is the best swordsman of the King's Guard.
Yeah. Also, he's just so hunky.
I guess he's pretty boringly hunk. I think the rogue guy is more hunky.
Here's a bad sign about this movie.
Yeah.
Usually with something like this, it'll be so mind-numbingly boring that whenever you hear the clash of blades, like the actual swashbuckling, that's when I look up from the iPad and want to watch the action. The
Not even-
action scenes in this are so awful
Yeah.
that I was looking away during every action scene.
Well,
That was where I was like, let me
because-
know when it's over.
Because every quote unquote action beat in the movie is the same thing.
There's a lot of just clumsy. I mean, and look, not everyone can be an extremely well trained, stage combat person.
Right.
But these people with these slow swinging of the sword and very clearly going, okay, he does that, and now I duck there, and I do this, and it just keeps going on and on. Like, do a couple of good shots and get out of there.
The youth Shakespeare program I was in, where we did Hamlet, had more thrilling combat than this.
Yeah.
Really, it really does seem like, we're gonna do a quick demonstration here of some sword fighting. I mean, the only time, and then, boy, if you thought the sword fighting was boring, get ready for the gunfights.
Yeah.
Holy God. Incredibly quiet muskets,
well, at least,
making people fall down.
Very truthful. They're packing the powder in.
Oh,
they get their one shot. They're back to putting in another, balls, and then packing the powder in. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I guess commitment to. And that's the thing.
Realism.
Like, realism. I was just about to say historical accuracy, but I'm like, when is this set? Where is it set? It's also this vaguely fantasy.
Well, they made up countries.
So
that
the thing
is
where
like
it's
Princess Bride.
Yeah, but that's the thing where it's like, but yeah, it's just like I need to see every moment of somebody loading an old-timey musket.
I can't remember what country the princess is supposed to be from, but I do remember that she's being married off to the king of Sarsinia.
Yes.
Completely made up Sarsinia.
By the way, love this section on IMDb, and just since we were talking about the rating earlier, this is the parents' guide to this movie, which is warning you about all the... Well, here, under sex and nudity... they've classified it as mild, and this includes passionate kissing and cleavage revealing dresses.
Sure.
I know, but I'm like, I just love the idea of like, my God, how sad a person must you be if it's like, I can't let my kid watch. I need to know about that.
Profanity, uses of damn, hell, and bloody.
Yeah. Violence throughout the film involving swordplay and shooting. I think even calling that moderate, though, is really... And then
there's only one thing that they tried to do, and that's during the last battle, and I know they're trying to sell it, is that there are lots of scenes of someone kind of going and stabbing, and then they have put on the soundtrack, you do hear some of the squelching. You hear like a kind of thing.
That's as
But there's no blood. And literally
no.
the sword is going underneath someone's armpit.
And you can see it. You can actually see that the sword is not going into anyone. My God!
Did you love the extremely dramatic and drawn out shots of the battlefield after? Like, look at the consequences. Bodies laying on the ground.
That's
and
what I'm talking
and not a spot of blood.
No, not a spot. That's what I'm talking about the tone of the movie, though. It's like this is a romantic family, because a lot of the complimentary reviews of this talk about how this is a family-friendly picture. It's one to watch with the family.
Because it is totally weak sauce. There's nothing here that's going to upset anybody.
Your kids won't be upset. They'll just be bored, as will you.
Man, everybody would be bored.
It is, because this, but that's what I'm saying, where it's like, it wants to be this like sort of fairy tale-esque thing, swashbuckling adventure, comedy, but then also go, look at the cost of war. What? Like, I don't want to contemplate. The Princess Bride never has me contemplate what have we wrought.
I hated this. I hated
will this
everything
violence
about it,
ever end?
When the opening credits are going, by the way, and the opening credits are just over loving shots of blades, daggers, muskets, so forth. But when they start like building towards, all right, movie's about to kick in, just you wait, and it's dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, all that stuff, they actually do include the sound of horses on the soundtrack.
Yes, Well, because
that cracked me up because immediately it is, you got people. It was almost Monty Python. There's all these scenes of people running from one place to the other, and I'm just picturing them clopping coconut halves together.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, they should have in the movie. This was never going to be anything resembling good, but if it's going to be this cheap, then just lean in and make it full on parody. It wouldn't be funny because they're not good at that. But it's like if it's going to be this shoddily made, and you're asking me to invest anything on any remote level of sincerity, you can't. It's just they needed.
The movie needed to end with all of their parents coming to pick them up. It's like, we hope you had fun.
You know what?
Here's you get dirty. You got your costume dirty.
As you bring up the LARPing, the fucking climax of David Wayne's role models with that LARPing battle is 10 times cooler and more exciting than this.
Because they take the central conceit, which is, LARPing being goofy, but the whole idea is to then shoot it in a dramatic way, and just like they would do on Community every time they would do their gunfight episodes, their paintball episodes. They would make it look like combat films, which is how you get a joke across.
Yes.
And here, we're supposed to buy this as being realistic or action-y, and it's boringly shot, and everyone looks clumsy. They're not good swords people.
No.
The lady with the whip, Jesus.
Oh, God. The only reason I remotely liked the lady with the whip is at least she was using a different weapon.
She's using a different weapon, and she was the character trope of, yeah, she may be a girl, but she's one of our best fighters.
Did you love the reveal that the like swordsman instructor guy is like, and by the way, she's my daughter, and they act like, what? And then you go, who cares?
And I'm sitting there going, I had assumed that from frame one.
But it just is like, who cares? How does that change anything about how I'm viewing this?
Yeah, go ahead and send her out into battle. She'll be just fine. Are you sure she's a girl? She's my daughter.
Yeah, and then also, she's just fine. She basically has no issues. She infiltrates the other side and dresses up as a man.
No one knows who she is.
Yeah, well, the hat bits never end. They
and
never
then when
end.
She gets, one thing I do love is, like, she goes and scouts, brings back information, and she's telling them the information. They go, oh, we already know, we were watching it.
Oh, I do.
I love that. Yeah. It's like undercutting any reason they had her there. They're like, oh, yeah, no, we had a spyglass. We saw it all.
Well, and also that it all worked. They could have done nothing, and it was just that Ron Perlman and Eric Roberts turned on each other.
Yeah, they could have done nothing and just waited because they didn't, like, take out vast swaths of the enemy force when they sent out the 3 claws.
Oh, my God. Their big thing about this is our big battle strategy. We call it the attack of the 3 claws.
Which basically means one at a time they send out a badass fighter to distract some of the bad guys, and then the badass fighter will pick off 1 or 2 of them. Then they'll send out another one. He'll pick off 1 or 2 of them.
And what I love
That's the whole
is
thing.
when Eric Roberts is like, they're using the 3 claws strategy. Of course.
In other words, if you know the strategy, what you'd say is, just let those guys run. Don't chase them. That way we won't lose anybody.
Because that's another big reveal, is that Eric Roberts was formerly of the King's Guard, and he betrayed the kingdom because he wanted to marry the princess, but she didn't want him.
We're talking about this plot as if there's a plot, and there isn't any.
Hey, I got to fill up like an hour of show here.
Here's the entire movie. Here's the entire movie.
Yeah.
King's Guard with the princess. We're being chased. Where do we go? There's some ruins. All right, we'll hunker down there. Uh-oh, here comes the guy who wants you and his enemy forces. Well, we'll just stay here until they siege us, and then we'll win.
Yep.
We won. Now we're okay.
Well, we'll talk. Well, I do want to talk about the end of the movie, my favorite part of the epilogue. But we'll.
You mean when it becomes Animal House, where everyone gets a summation?
Where about,
like,
including
these guys did a thing, and then they did a thing.
Senator and Mrs. Blutowski did go off.
That's exactly it.
D-Day's whereabouts are unknown.
Yeah, I would have.
There's
so many things I would have rather watched than this.
Well, Animal House is funny. Believe it or not. I'm just. I am looking through these. I can't believe I wrote down as much as I did. But it's mostly just me going like, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah. So yeah, there's nothing to get invested in here because there's this romance. Once again, everything is in quotes. Just assume everything I say is in quotes, basically.
Yeah.
Between the guardsman and the princess, which because they're bickering at the start about like, oh, you gonna drag me through the forest? And yes, there are no. You bring up there's no horses,
yeah, literally.
So they're literally just dragging the wagon of stuff. People are dragging.
That's when I'm thinking like, why aren't they clopping coconuts? Because it's guys running with the cart.
It's the same
because the horse has been driven off. The cart's important because it holds her dowry. So here's the thing: there's jewels and crap, which are literally there's an overhead shot that's like there's the cart, which is nicely made, good on you, prop master.
Yeah.
And there's casks. Like chests that probably have jewels in them. But for some reason, because they want to stress it, they have loose jewelry on top of some of that shit while they're running.
Love that.
Why would you have loose?
Love that bit, though, where once again, the director's going like, yeah, I could use a little bit more. People aren't going to know what.
Don't get that there's jewels and shit in it. Uh-oh, what happened?
Cat sat on the
kitty cat?
Yeah, it's the cat sitting on the cords because he's upset that no one's paying attention to him.
I'm sorry, Columbo.
He lucked out. He slept through this whole movie.
He didn't wake up during the dramatic finale.
This is always a sign of action shelf movies too, but everything's so quiet. The clanging of swords is quiet. The guns are quiet. Like this whole movie is just
the dialogue is not well recorded either. I had to kind of crank it.
Yeah.
For some
well,
of the
and by God, if you stop it, cat. This is more entertaining than the movie. That's what I'm saying. Like you miss any of this. Because the whole thing with Perlman and Roberts, right, when you talk about is Perlman's like, I want that dowry. And Roberts is like, but I want the princess. So we are just kind of skirting the fact that he does want to rape this woman, right, basically?
Yeah.
I mean,
wants to possess her.
Yeah.
It starts with rape, John, then it becomes love. That's true of many fairy tales.
I mean, it's pretty classic evil bad guy wants the virginal princess.
So that's the deal, is that Eric Roberts, who's a noble but was in the King's Guard, and he's paid off mercenary Ron Perlman to bring his men.
What a scoundrel, that Ron Perlman.
Yeah, and Ron Perlman just wants the dowry, obviously. He wants the money, and that's their deal they've worked out. But, the thing is that the good guys have found those ruins, which are just, like I said, plopped in the middle of a field that's surrounded by forest.
Mm-hmm.
And the bluest sky there's ever been.
There's no... When you talk about it, it's this bright sunny day, which really adds to this total lack of atmosphere. This total lack of...
The whole thing is flat. Someone in the reviews keeps pointing out how nice the costumes are, and they do look good. But again, they look good in the way that really dedicated Ren Fair goers or cosplayers, they put a lot of work in their costumes. I was like, they do look good.
But let's
focus on the story and the character and the dialogue.
But as you're talking about, it's like the whole thing is flat. The costumes look good in that Ren Fair sense, or if I'm watching like a Shakespeare play, out on like an outdoor theater. What they don't, there's no style or substance. They don't look like they've been costume designed like a movie.
Well, there's also the thing.
It feels like everybody just brought these costumes.
Yes, and you could also say that this is possibly because they're going for a kind of a fairy tale feel. Perhaps we'll ask the writer director someday. But basically,
you mean when we smack him around, we get him on there and smack him around?
Yeah, there's no attempt to make this look lived in. Here's the thing, and I know this is the farthest end of the spectrum. But Flesh and Blood by Verhoeven. Also a very medieval, same time period, and he's doing he's doing
the whole thing
medieval
his whole thing is like, fuck that shit. It wasn't like that. It was a goddamn nightmare full of
Yeah.
disgust and
Also, yeah, and there's mud, and everyone looks horrible, even the royalty, because they're bathing in hygiene.
there's not a
back
single truly heroic character in the movie.
then. And
They're
all of their costumes are not only lived in, but they're threadbare and they're sweat stained and all that stuff. In other words, it's very much, I'm not even sure if real medieval times was that hardcore. So let's say that's the far end of the spectrum. This is like at one point, and they actually have it on the poster, and it's like, oh, there's a selling point. That's why you kind of thought this might be a real deal medieval action movie, is that Eric Roberts does have some like soot and dirt smudged on his face because he's been in battle.
I basically
his costume
thought
looks immaculate, by the way. But
I
he's got
basically thought, based on the poster, we were going to be looking at sort of a cheap, like Borman's Excalibur. Because I feel like that movie I love for adding grit to still a fantastical fairy tale story, but it adds a little bit more realism, and it adds more like it's an R-rated take on what is still a high fantasy story.
Man, do I love Excalibur.
God damn, that probably will be we do a thing on our Instagram if you follow us, and if you don't, you should follow us. We're at Action Shelf Pod. But we do a thing where we recommend whatever movie we're watching. We recommend an alternative good movie to watch instead of the movie.
Yes,
I have a feeling. I'm pretty sure that this week's will be John Borman's Excalibur because it's a masterpiece.
Or Flesh and Blood.
Which I do also.
I mean, it's not a masterpiece, but man,
I was gonna say
it's worth a watch.
It's worth a single watch. I don't think I could watch it again because it's
brutal.
It is brutal in a way that changed Verhoeven's whole career, because he was like, oh, I see. I also need to make things entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, maybe people don't want to see.
Yeah. It's like
Jennifer Jason Leigh stripped and raped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But I will say this. That's a good recommend anytime.
Yeah.
But also join us in our hashtag campaign to convince Warner Brothers to put Excalibur on 4K.
What is that about?
Remastered.
Come on.
What is that about? It has been
a classic.
Ignored for so long.
Oh, it's so good. That seems right for an Arrow Video or Shout Factory or Criterion.
Clean that mother up.
It is, because it's a gorgeous film. It is a stunning
movie.
it's
shot on grainy film stock.
Yeah, but
I've
seen that. I've seen those restored still. This is what this is going to devolve into now. I do want to look at some of these reviews because normally we just do one, but there's a few misguided souls out there that I want to talk about.
Well, there's a 10 out of 10, but that seems like somebody's relative.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4 10 out of 10 reviews here.
What?
Yeah. Well,
God, you're right.
Let's go through these because the title of this one I find fucking hilarious. This one is Truth and Honor in the Days of Yore.
Yeah, that's the one that seems like a plant.
This fine medieval tale will fill your heart with a longing for the noble days of knights and castles.
No, screensaver, but keep going.
Fleeing from an attack on the castle, Princess Gwendolyn
screensaver
takes refuge in a ruin with the surviving members of her entourage, including 7 of her father's elite King's Guard and their leader, Captain John Reynolds.
This review just gives you the plot.
It just gives you the throw that chases and then as he chases them through the Shire wood and meadow, as the fight of good and evil wages on eternally. Who will win? Good.
What movie did that person see?
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. How about best movie ever? Best movie ever.
Shit.
I saw this when I was like 5 because my Uncle Earl is in this movie.
Yeah.
He's the guy who doesn't like hats.
There you go.
The story behind that is he really doesn't like hats.
What?
And he refused to wear one on camera, so they changed the script for him. Oh, this one actually has some info.
Yeah.
I really don't remember it, but it rocked. My uncle rocks.
I hope he does. I hope Uncle Earl is the best.
Yeah. I remember.
Oh wait, it keeps going. Read it.
I'm supposed to have 10 lines in this comment, which is really stupid. But anyway, I want to see this movie again and tell my uncle what I really think, not just what I remember. And everyone thinks this movie is crappy, but it's not. My uncle was going to be in Pirates of the Caribbean 2 because he sword fights, and the place where he takes lessons was going to do the people in the movie, but then the movie switched places. He still would have rocked in that movie too. I'm really just blabbling on about absolutely nothing, but whatever. Toodles! It ends with Toodles!
Toodles, and then kiss, kiss, hug, hug, kiss, kiss, hug, hug.
Yep.
Holy God. I actually do like that one a lot because if your uncle is in a movie, then I'm glad he loved it so much. That's actually touching.
And that they reworked this part for Earl because he didn't want to wear a hat.
That led to so much delicious comedy.
Wear that hat. I don't want to wear the hat, but you have to wear the hat. Who cares? I'm not going to wear the hat. Earl,
you don't know anything about style. Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah. By the way,
Kingsguard, all the people in it.
I found him, Earl Robinson. This is his lone acting credit.
Oh, well. I mean, again, it sounds like maybe he's a sword fighting guy.
Well, if that's the case, then they did not showcase that very well.
No, they didn't. So here's the thing. Everyone in this movie's doing British accents, some more successfully than others, but none well.
No.
But in the Kingsguard, there is the German guy. We don't know why he's German. I guess the guy's like, I can do a German. And that's the guy paired with Earl, who doesn't like hats.
He hates those hats.
And then there's the Master Swordsman, who's Scottish.
Yep.
And he's doing a not great Scottish accent, as is the actress playing his daughter, whose entire performance seems to have been ADR'd. So I think that she is
that is her lone acting credit as well.
Yeah.
Cassie Fox, who plays Katie.
I'm telling you, this just does feel like locals who do probably outdoor theater or Ren Fair and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they're very fun when they do their sword fighting demonstration at the Ren Fair. I'm sure that's very fun.
I will say this. This movie would have been more entertaining if I had been eating a huge turkey leg.
Yeah.
With a flagon of beer.
Dude, I've seen the Pirates
watching somebody doing a falconry.
Okay, the guy who plays the Master Swordsman. All right, this makes a lot of sense. This guy is like a stunt coordinator, fight choreographer. He did archery doubling for Robin Hood Men in Tights. So I think he is just like a guy who probably knows about like medieval weapons. And so they're just like, sure, throw him in there, man.
Yep.
And I'm sure it does demonstration. But I was going to say, I've seen, and actually it's very impressive, and it makes sense. The Disneyland Pirates of the Caribbean live show that they do in their Disneyland Lagoon, where they do a big sword display and they fire the cannons. That's way more entertaining than anything in this. The fucking theme park show that happens nightly is far more exciting. I was actually very impressed with it. It's well worth your time. It's well worth your time at Disneyland, folks.
All right, here's a couple of reviews I want to bring up.
Please do.
There's 2 10 out of 10s that are 1 day apart. They're not from the exact same email.
Yeah.
They have to. This is an assault.
Yeah.
August 8th, Lewis 33 says great movie, should do a TV series. And this is what he says. Fun family entertainment. Love the action, swordplay, and romance. Eric Roberts was fabulous. He's a great adversary. The princess was beautiful, and I loved all the characters. Scenery was exceptional. The costumes and weapons were authentic, and I think they should make a sequel with a bigger budget for theatrical release. Maybe Disney should pick this up. Okay, that's what Lewis said. The next day, this is, by the way, 2001.
Yeah.
Eileen Kraft says, very entertaining, a must for the family. Okay, and here's what she has to say. The Kingsguard was excellent. Lots of sword action and light humor combined with suspense and romance. I loved Eric Roberts' character and his quest for the princess. The ending was very clever, and the outtakes were hilarious. It was a great film for every member of the family. They should do a big budget sequel.
Who's trying to get that started? Who was trying to get that started?
And also, who was trying to butter up Eric Roberts? The only person that both of these people shouted out.
Eric Roberts.
Both of them saying, someone should definitely put in more money for a sequel or turn it to a TV show. Disney?
Yeah, Disney really needs to
Good
get their hands on
Lord.
this. I did see that one because I did specifically the ending was clever. What was clever? Even let's take good and bad out of this. What are you seeing that's clever in this ending?
Maybe they have never seen a movie that does a summation kind of like into the future thing where the narrator goes, and this is what happened to that character years later. And they're like going, that blew my mind.
Oh,
I was wondering at the end of the movie what was going to happen with those people, and now I know. That was clever.
Because now this is just turning into us bashing on people who have terrible opinions, and that's fine. But I'm saying now I'm over on Amazon, which is where I watched the movie, and this is classic. When you talk about this being PG-13, I've seen these kind of reviews for these before. This guy writes, "Family fare like the old days," and that's old with an E, of course, like the old days. This is a great family film, suitable for all ages with no swearing, nudity, or gore. Do not mistake it like I did when looking at the DVD cover for a serious swashbuckler. The cover actually shows one of the bad guys. Almost all the film takes place on a crumbled down, roofless, blah, blah, blah. They want the princess. The sword... Okay, here he goes. The sword play is theater style with old rapier technique. Circa 1560 to 1660. The costumes appear to be from 1620s to 1640s in style.
Oh, and is it signed Mike Rigoni?
I was once the only American member of the 20,000 strong British Sealed Knot Historical Society, specifically in the King's Guard Regiment Oxford Company. So I couldn't resist a film with this title. Instead of Errol Flynn or Blood and Guts, what I watched was something different. Pleasant, attractive, likable characters, good moral values, several good laughs, and an ending that really made me smile. I thought they didn't make them like this anymore. Deserves to be much better known and in the public libraries in the family section. 3 cheers and God save the princess.
Oh my God.
What is wrong with this man?
And to counter it, here's one from Mac52 who gave it 2 out of 10 stars.
Oh no, he didn't like this at all.
In the history of cinema, there have been many great sword fights. Robin Hood, Captain Blood, and even The Princess Bride come to mind.
Agreed.
This movie is so bad to almost drive the memory of those great fights right out of my mind. Bad acting? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Bad dialogue? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But the worst choreographed fight scenes, perhaps, in the history of movies. I know professional stunt people are expensive, but not spending the money really, really shows.
Yeah, I think the thing of
I'd love to get those two guys in a room. The guy that you just talked about,
just some
and this
point
guy.
counter. Forget listening to us. If we can get those two on a podcast to go back and forth.
I did think while I was watching this, I was like, okay, this is not a well-made movie, but this is clearly sword fighting from between 1560 and 1660.
but the costumes appear to be from the 1620s to 1640s. You know. Okay, I got to read maybe the most insane. Just I don't even.
I'm ready.
Help me out with what this person's even referencing. Okay. This is okay. The title of the review is just it's good when.
Okay.
When you can tell the actors are having fun. This movie was a real pleasure to watch. All right. It reminded me of the original Saturday Night Live show, where the actors literally lived their roles and didn't care about trying to outdo each other, hoping to get noticed and then move on to supposedly bigger things. Now, here's a counterpoint. This movie's made me dumber. To the person who the 2 people, or possibly 1 person writing 2 reviews, who loved Eric Roberts. The only exception was Eric Roberts, who didn't fit in with the plain and simple fun that everyone else was having. While they were all enjoying their parts, he acted like he just wanted to get it over with and hammed it up every chance he got. His lines came out stiff and forced. No heart in it at all. Because of him, I only give it 9 out of 10 stars.
only 9.
I gotta take off a star. I just can't with material this good. How is Eric Roberts not investing himself more in it? Good.
It's like someone going like, Citizen Kane, amazing. You can tell everyone showed up ready to play. But Agnes Moorehead looked like she wanted to be anywhere else. That's why I have to give it 9 out of 10 stars.
Loses a whole star because this. And actually, Eric Roberts is about as good as he often. I mean, this is a terrible thing. I didn't notice him being particularly checked out.
No, I will say that neither Eric Roberts nor Ron
They're
Perlman
pros,
invested much in their characters because there's nothing there, and they don't do very good British accents, either one of them.
No.
But again, they're pro actors. I'm looking at them, and I still forgive them. But I just wonder why they made it.
Yeah,
how much could they have been given?
Somebody
was there
them,
like a free vacation thrown in or something?
To San Diego?
To San Diego, the beautiful sunny San Diego.
I mean, San Diego is gorgeous, but it's also like presumably these guys live in LA, and that's
the headline of Blue Sabre's review, 1 out of 10 stars, was you would think Ron Perlman would know better.
Well, yeah,
just like that.
There had to be a reason he's in
Leslie Ann Down. I mean, I don't know if she lives in the States. She probably does, and probably has for years. But I always think of her as a Brit, and I'm like, why would she have come all the way over, like going, yeah, I'll show up for a day?
Oh man, here's a good one. Forgive me if I don't want to sound like Siskel and Ebert's love child, but it wasn't that bad a movie. Some of the 1-star ratings were most likely given because there was no outraged commentary about climate change, no subliminal attack on social injustice, and not even a hint of LGBT support. Wish there'd been a sequel.
What?
I just love the idea of this guy going like, well, this movie doesn't say anything about it, so I just want to get this shit in here, though. This is what I don't like it. Oh my god, this movie's terrible. I don't. Have people figured this out yet? I don't know if they figured it out.
I don't know how often on your podcast here you guys spend so much time on the reviews, but we have
run into a couple of these before where the movie is just nothing, though.
There's no effort in dialogue or character. It is the will they won't they between Captain of the Guard and the princess, and she does continue to worry about him as things get more tense. What I thought was really funny is the inside of those ruins may be the size of not even a basketball court. But anyway, so the inside of the ruins are pretty small, and yet no one's leaving except for the 3 claws, which means when she goes over to the roguish guy, the princess, that is, Princess Gwendolyn, goes over to the roguish guy and goes, "What? Tell me all about Captain Reynolds, who I'm clearly having feelings for." And then he's like, "Oh, I can tell you many stories about him," and he talks up his friend. But the whole thing is like she's going around to people going, "What do you think of Captain Reynolds, base?" And he's like 8 feet away the whole time. Everyone in these, they can't have private conversations. Christine Hodge goes over and yells at that roguish guy because you were flirting with other people, and he's like, "But I only love you," and she's like, "Prove it." And I'm like, well, and then there's someone literally just in the background going, "Hi, I'm just right here. Hi, what's going on?" There's the fat guy who's one of the only people who actually dies in the movie. Oh wait, no, he doesn't die, does he?
I think he does.
He doesn't, because he runs up behind the 2 guys and goes, "And we'll sell lots of pies."
Yeah, that's right. Because
I don't think any of the good guys
pies.
Die, do they?
No, because you got the negotiator guy who gets shot, but he had the pot lid in his shirt.
Right, the negotiator guy, who's the guy who started off being like, "I can't do this. I'm a fop, a court fop," and then he learns how to be a tough guy at the end. You're like, great.
Yeah.
And you got when Eric Roberts. They actually mentioned this on the IMDb as one of the quotes. Eric Roberts is the guy who stabs. Yeah. Basically, the King's Guard brings him along because, he's not a great fighter, but he's got a lot of heart and he always helps us.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a delight, I guess. But when Eric Roberts stabs the fat guy, he says, "Bleed, fat man." And I do think that was a pretty good one.
Probably an Eric Roberts improv, I'm just going to assume.
"Bleed, fat man." That was good.
Anyway, I'll be in my trailer.
Yeah, they all survive. So
the thing I want about the princess and the will they won't they is the whole thing about her is she's going to this other kingdom because the hero's kingdom is run out of money and resources, so they need to make this
Yes,
allegiance.
it's a political marriage.
Right, and so, but she's fallen in love with the king's guardsman, this Captain Reynolds. And then in the epilogue voiceover, they go, well, she did marry that guy, but then he died pretty quickly in a mysterious hunting accident, and now she's doing the So he murdered that guy? She killed him?
Murdered that guy. He basically is like, look, you do need to help your kingdom, and I know you don't love that guy, but let's go ahead and do the marriage. I'll kill him when he's hunting. And then he goes, and then she enlisted him to be her personal guard, and he comforted her, and now they have 4 kids.
Yeah, he comforted her all night long. Am I right? But I'm just saying, like, these are our heroes. Murder. We don't know anything about that other king. Was he a bad guy who had a? Who knows?
Well, they did have some lines of dialogue that you couldn't care. But they're like, well, he's not a terrible guy, but I don't love him, and I'm just doing this to save my family.
So he deserves to be murdered.
He deserves to be murdered.
And once again, and these are our heroes that are doing this. Okay, great.
And
great
Christine Haji, the handmaiden, and the rogue guy. We find out they're going to always be spatting. But once they actually did get married, he remained faithful, but she didn't. Another ha ha ha. She gets to cheat on him post-marriage. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, what great family fare, am I right? What great lessons to teach the kids. Oh my God, all the kids will love it. Jesus Christ. All right, well, we've already done we've done more misguided opinions than we've done before. So we'll go ahead and we've already done that segment, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
To its
misguided opinions.
So instead, well, so many people want a sequel to this, Brendan. What say you and I come up with a sequel to this? We're going to fire up the handy-dandy action movie title generator.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let me see here. Actually, let me set it to fantasy mode.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, so here we go. We're going to get this. So this will be the King's Guard, : hold on. It's thinking. Skeletons of the North. Well, I'll say this right now. We do have a rule this season on the action shelf that Eric Roberts has to be in it. So I think right off the bat, resurrected, which can fit in with the skeleton thing, right?
Yes. So what I'm thinking is that guy, when he broke from the King's Guard and became jerk Eric Roberts, he had some ties to tribes of the North that practice black magic.
Of course.
So they have a deal with him, and him being dead isn't going to work for them. So they raise him back up, and they raise the army of the dead, all the people that got laid to waste, and they attack the princess's Sarsinia castle.
Yes.
And the kids, who are all in their teen years.
That's right, because they had the 4 kids, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They will have to protect their mom. I don't know why the rest of the King's Guard they're debating about wearing hats or not.
That is still on. They can't be bothered because they're still arguing about their hats, whether or not they should wear the hats, and so that's distracting them from that. And so yes, it's the kids have to fight the army of skeletons. Is it sort of an how bad do the skeletons look? Are they going for an army of darkness kind of?
They're leaning into the comedic stop motiony kind of thing, and whenever they get knocked down, they make like Hanna-Barbera sound effects.
Yes,
with the bones like.
But of course, it's all just a fishing line and like Party City Halloween decoration.
It looks absolutely horrible. And the Lip Girl, who's now the head of the King's Guard.
Right. Yes, because they did talk about how she broke the glass ceiling, right, of that and became the first.
She actually ends up converting the main sorceress from evil to good through the power of love, which finally gets our LGBTQ stuff in there. Yeah, because we are making a woke fantasy movie.
Oh, that's gonna piss off somebody.
And at the end, she's forgiven for what she's done, but Eric Roberts' skeleton vows revenge
to set up movie 3.
Yeah, And maybe Sarsinia is in the north also, so you could have
There you
snow
go.
on the ground.
Yeah,
They could shoot in Colorado or something.
but it'll still all be in bright daylight no matter
Oh,
what.
they could probably do the director of this one will be Rene Perez.
Oh, there
who
you
has
oh,
those
yeah, go
snow-capped mountains.
go do it on his estate or whatever there.
That's right.
There it
we
is.
go.
Perfect. That means Bronzy can be in it.
Oh shit! That's awesome. What other actors do you think they could get? I mean, because Perlman's gone, Eric Roberts is in it. So who are they going to get for the budget? Who are they going to get?
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I think Bronzy's easy. That guy didn't cost shit.
I have an idea.
Who's your idea?
I think they get Christian Slater in there.
Oh man, they're spending some money on that.
Well, I mean, Perlman didn't come cheap.
Right. No, Slater is the Perlman level of this.
Yeah. I think they're probably equitable as far as getting them in a movie there.
Well, and once again, he'll be in several scenes, but they'll all have been clearly shot in one day, right?
Right.
They get Slater
and
for a
maybe
day.
there's a wise old Sarcinian head of the guard who's Clancy Brown.
Oh, Clancy Brown is a good Perlman stand. I feel like they're definitely on equal footing.
And by the way, these are, we're talking about budgetary.
Yeah.
This is no strike against these actors.
No.
Clancy Brown and Perlman and Christian Slater any day of the year.
Oh,
they're
any day of the year, and they're all guys who a budget of this level could probably get for a day. Yeah, that's key. Because even Eric Roberts. We've done a lot of Eric Roberts movies on this show, and this is even bad for Eric Roberts. This movie is
who's the ex sitcom cutie that they bring in?
Oh,
if they were known as Kristen Hodge.
Sitcom cutie.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
There. Tiffany Amber Thiessen. There we go. There you go. Sure. Why not?
And part of the magic is a Zack attack where the sorceress is able to stop time and look at the camera say things to us. Time out. And she's like going, what's with these guys?
Oh, we have yet to do one of his movies, but there's a Mark Paul Gosselaar movie in our future.
I'm sure there is.
He's done a few of these.
I would watch this. I would watch this sequel we're talking
about.
Yeah,
well, you can only go up from this. You can't make anything worse than this, I don't think.
This is, again, it's just embarrassing.
It
and
really
the only
is.
reason the stars we're talking about get away with it is they're just above it. They're just above it.
They're just above it.
They really can't be embarrassed by this.
No,
everyone else can be.
They're all actors, and we've talked about all of them, I think, on this show before. The three that we've been talking about, I have all been in previous Action Shelf movies.
Really? Even Leslie Ann Down?
She was Charles Bronson's love interest in Death Wish 5, The Face of Death.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's right. I've finally getting my life together. At 85, I'm settling down with Leslie Ann Down. What's this? She's been murdered.
Oh, he's got to take on the.
Yeah, that's right. He's got to take on Michael Parks, who's her. Go back and listen to that episode, everybody. Michael Parks, who's her mom. And actually, I will say, Death Wish 5: The Face of Death, much more entertaining than The King's Guard. Infinitely more entertaining. Even with that geriatric Charles Bronson.
Again, watching old high school productions on VHS from when it's like that's more entertaining.
Yeah, there's literally. Yeah,
it's like, wow, we did a great job on Death of a Salesman. We never did that.
I know, that's always a hilarious one to think that like a 16-year-old is playing Willie Loman, though, right? Like, oh well, there you go, folks. Don't watch The King's Guard if there's a lesson here. I wish Listman was here for this just so he could tell me if this is at the level of the previous, because the previous worst movie we've ever done on the show is a movie called Future Kick, and they're pretty neck and neck. That is the same level of incompetence.
Is that one R-rated?
Yes.
Does it have some blood?
It has some blood, and it has many strip club scenes, so lots of.
Then
nudity.
It's already better.
But let me say,
I'm serious. Like PG-13 fantasy movie shot on camcorder.
Yeah.
Is worse.
I will say, Future Kick is R-rated, but it's about the same level of quality, but in the sci-fi realm. Same level of just total incompetence. And actually,
does their future cyber armor look as good as Abu's in Abed's in Community, second Community reference.
Doesn't
when
even
he's got his kick puncher armor on.
I know we did pick the movie hoping it was my punches have the power of kicks. Well,
So good.
well, next week's movie that Brendan you won't be here for. We'll have you back though. Don't worry. Don't worry, folks.
Okay.
There'll be plenty more Brendan to come.
But what's next week for you and Listman?
Well, for Listman
Or
still
you and
up.
your guest?
Yeah, me and my guest will be Mike Gergoni.
Ah.
And we're watching a film called Marauders.
That tells you nothing.
That tells me absolutely nothing. But how about this A-list cast?
Oh, I'm ready.
Bruce Willis,
Oh.
Christopher Maloney,
Oh.
Dave Bautista.
What?
Yeah, and then two guys you're familiar with, because this movie is from the director of Arsenal, an episode you were on.
Bob and Ray.
So you were previously on the episode Arsenal we did, and this reteams this director with his stars Adrian Grenier and Jonathan Scheck are back
What the hell?
together in
Man,
Marauders.
what a pair.
Yeah. And the very this talk about topical. The very topical tagline, "The rich will pay."
Oh,
That's
what year
right.
is it from?
It is from 2016.
Oh,
2016.
so Bruce is getting close to the point where he's like,
I
"You're gonna have
think
to tell
this
me my
is,
line before I say
think
it."
this is right on the edge. He's a couple years into I'm just doing anything for the money. So I think we're looking at trouble here. I will say I do love Chris Maloney and Dave Bautista. And
No, that cast
wish them
doesn't sound bad.
only
and
the best.
actually, I think a Jonathan Scheck,
Jonathan Scheck also very good.
Maybe not an Adrian
Adrian
Grenier.
Grenier is a little weak, but
Jonathan
Scheck.
Scheck could be lifted by
Yeah.
being around these people.
We are Scheck fans. We like Jonathan Scheck. He's good.
I'm down for Jonathan Scheck.
And it also
Renaissance.
features a guy we've seen in supporting roles in other movies, and Listman and I are obsessed with his name, and this is his legal birth name, an actor named Texas Battle.
What?
Yeah.
Texas Battle?
Yeah. He's a
Holy crap.
Yeah. That's a real guy who's in movies. We've seen him on here before. He's from Houston,
Wow.
Texas, folks.
Well, I also, my original birth name was Power Loader, and I did change it.
Power Loader, yes.
Yeah, I'm of the Mississippi Loaders.
So
Anyway,
there you go. Brendan, thank you for endoring this and doing our
really,
best
if
to
it's
fill.
not R-rated, don't call me back.
I think the next time you're on, it will be R-rated.
Okay, because I at least want some blood.
Yeah, I want just a single shot of some blood. That's all I care
Yeah.
about.
I don't even need brain matter, but if it's there, all the better.
All right, well, so yeah, but this will join us or join me next week for that. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of The Action Shelf. I'm John Campbell, and until next week, get yourself some action.
The Action Show. The Action Show.